Hi everyone, this is Ofer. I'm just going to go over some of my exploration about Kafka integration with ServiceNow. In the first video, I'm going to go over installation of Kafka on a Linux virtual machine. You can see that I'm using Azure to create a Linux virtual machine, and I'll install Kafka on that virtual machine. I like using virtual machines because it's easier to tear them apart and set them up quickly, and it provides a lot of flexibility when it comes to creating configurations that are similar to the ones that we may encounter at the customer site. So here I'm creating the virtual machine, giving it a password rather than using a SSH key, and the reason is because we're going to connect it to it using Visual Studio Code, which is an easier way to manage the configurations. So I'm just going to take pretty much the standard configurations. I do select the auto shutdown because I don't want it to be active while I don't need the machine. So here I'm logging it to the machine using Visual Studio Code. I have the SSH extension, and I just use the connect to the machine using the username, and then it will prompt me for the password. So I'm just going to use this secondary window to connect to the machine, and it prompted me for the password. I'm just going to enter the password. There are many ways to connect to their remote machine, but I'm using Visual Studio because I find it the easiest, because I have access to the files and it's easier user interface. So here I open the command prompt in Visual Studio and I follow the instructions to installing Kafka. The instructions are in the description of this video. You don't need to remember all the commands, but it's essentially going step by step and installing Kafka. Here I'm just preparing the machine, the virtual machines, to the Kafka installation with all the updates, and then I will download Kafka and install it. So just verifying Java is installed, and then I'm going to go to the Kafka download, copy the download link, and then use the wget command to get the download file. You can see the downloaded file here, and then I'm just going to expand it. Just list it again just to make sure that we can see the directory, and then I'll move the directory to a specific location that'll be easier to access. It's a specific Kafka directory. I can also create a similar link, but in this case I decided to just move the directory. Just going to delete the old file, and then now I'm just going to go to the Kafka directory that I've created. I'm just going to open Visual Studio Code from this particular directory, which will prompt me for a new Windows and again to enter the password. You can see that I can have access to all the files that are in that directory, in the Kafka directory, just in case I need to access them directly. Now I'll create the Zookeeper systemd file, copying the configuration file from the instructions and pasting it into a new file, zookeeper.service. Just going to write it down. And then I'm going to create this similar file for the Kafka service. Once saved, I'm going to just make sure that the service daemon is on. And then I'm going to check the status of the Zookeeper service just to make sure that it's indeed not active. I'm going to start it. And I'm also going to start the Kafka service. Again, confirming that the service is active, I'm going to check the status again and indeed see that it's active. Control C to get out of here. Also check that the Kafka service is active. Now that both services are active, we can create a topic. In this case, I'm going to create a topic test1. And again, all these commands are available in the instruction. Once the topic is created, we're able to produce messages and consume messages. So let me start by producing messages to the topic. I'm presented with a command prompt for the messages, so I'm just going to enter the messages on separate lines. Control C to exit. And then I'm going to consume the topics, which will prove that we have Kafka installed properly and we're able to produce and consume messages on a specific topic.